This is the story of an African man who used clever tactics that were so precise that authorities started considering him a sorcerer. According to reports, the African sorcerer was said to have enjoyed his newfound wealth and luxurious lifestyle in America, attracting the attention of law enforcement agencies and financial regulators. Rumors regarding the origins of his wealth circulated, prompting investigators to look into his background. Meanwhile, it was reported that the bank manager in Dubai, who had previously been under the influence of the sorcerer, began to awaken to reality. He reportedly realized the seriousness of his actions and the potential repercussions of assisting in the fraudulent transfer of such a significant amount of money. In America, it was reported that the sorcerer's extravagant lifestyle became increasingly conspicuous, drawing scrutiny from both the media and the public. His lavish displays of wealth reportedly raised suspicions, with murmurs of possible illegal activities growing louder. As the investigation reportedly intensified, the sorcerer's facade allegedly began to crumble. His once mysterious and alluring scheme was said to have unraveled under the relentless scrutiny of law enforcement. Evidence reportedly mounted against him, linking him to fraudulent activities and money laundering. Facing mounting legal pressure and public outcry, the sorcerer's once charmed existence came crashing down. He reportedly found himself entangled in a web of deceit and betrayal, with his illusions of invincibility reportedly shattered. Babani Sissoko's journey from Mali to Dubai and eventually to the United States is a story of ambition, intrigue, and ultimately downfall. In 1995, Dubai was emerging as a global economic powerhouse, drawing entrepreneurs and investors from around the world, including Sissoko. Initially, Sissoko's arrival in Dubai seemed like the beginning of a promising venture. His charm and charisma quickly earned him the trust of influential figures, including a bank manager who would unwittingly become entangled in his schemes. With audacious claims of mystical powers and promises of wealth multiplication through occult rituals, Sissoko manipulated his way into positions of influence, leveraging his connections to orchestrate a massive financial fraud. The staggering sum of $242 million transferred under false pretenses showcased the extent of his deception. As Sissoko's extravagant lifestyle attracted scrutiny, the spotlight turned on his activities, sparking a complex legal battle with the U.S. government. This captivating saga, while seemingly surreal, is firmly rooted in reality, supported by court records, legal testimonies, and substantial evidence. The intricacies of Sissoko's elaborate scheme, from his initial exploits in Dubai to his flamboyant exploits in the United States, unfold as a cautionary tale of greed and deception. The narrative's veracity is underscored by its documentation in American court cases and the corroborating accounts of legal experts involved in the proceedings. Upon his arrival in Dubai on a business visa, Babani Sissoko wasted no time in making his presence known. He headed straight to the Dubai Islamic Bank, a prestigious financial institution in the city, where he demanded an audience with the bank manager, Mohammed Ayub. This bold move raised eyebrows among the bank's employees, who were not accustomed to such direct requests. However, Sissoko's persistence paid off, and he was granted a meeting with Ayub. During their meeting, Sissoko's request for a car loan seemed improbable given his lack of a steady income or collateral. Yet, through his persuasive charm and mysterious aura, Sissoko managed to sway Ayub's decision, securing the loan without meeting the usual criteria. Grateful for the favor, Sissoko extended an invitation to Ayub to join him for dinner at his apartment. Despite initial reservations, Ayub found himself intrigued by Sissoko's promise of a unique cultural experience. Sissoko hinted at the possibility of witnessing something extraordinary, tapping into Ayub's fascination with mysticism and folklore, particularly prevalent in the 1990s. When Ayub arrived at Sissoko's apartment, he was ushered into a dimly lit room filled with enigmatic objects and an air of mystique. Here, Sissoko revealed his claim to supernatural powers, boasting of his ability to double any amount of money through the use of jinn, mythical spirits in Islamic tradition. In the early months of 1996, Sissoko arrived in New York and initiated an account with Citibank, a prominent financial institution at the time. Upon visiting the main branch in New York, he managed to persuade a female employee to marry him, likely enticed by his considerable wealth. Despite being aware of Sissoko's existing marital status, including multiple wives in Africa, Europe, and elsewhere in America, she consented to the union. This marriage served as a means to facilitate his banking transactions, as he intended to transfer his funds from Dubai to the United States. Succeeding in transferring over $100 million from his Dubai account to his Citibank account in the United States, his new wife, employed at Citibank, likely played a role in expediting these transactions. Although Sissoko may have possessed the capability to execute the transfers independently, his wife's involvement undoubtedly streamlined the process. In appreciation, he bestowed upon her a generous sum of $500,000 and continued to shower her with extravagant gifts. To corroborate the transfer of such a substantial sum from Dubai to Citibank in the United States, legal documentation pertaining to a case filed by Dubai Islamic Bank against Citibank in 1999 in New York courts is cited. The case outlines allegations that, with the assistance of 3 Citibank employees, including Sissoko's wife, a money laundering operation was facilitated for a man named Foutanga Babani Sissoko, involving a total sum of $151 million. Returning to the narrative, upon securing the transfer of funds to his American account, Sissoko commenced living an opulent lifestyle in the United States. He indulged in extravagant expenditures, acquiring whatever luxuries he desired. Notably, he purchased aircraft and established an airline named after his village, Dubai Airlines, procuring a private small plane alongside 2 Boeing 727s, each capable of accommodating 180 passengers, epitomized his extravagant lifestyle. He intended to create a full-fledged airline, but he opted for used and older planes, as new ones were prohibitively expensive even for him. However, these ambitious plans didn't fully materialize. The planes mostly remained grounded at the airport, and the airline he dreamt of never truly took off. This aspect was quintessential of Sissoko's character, as he often displayed enthusiasm in investing millions into new ventures only to lose interest later on. Despite his grandiose project ideas and extravagant spending, Sissoko remained committed to supporting the residents of his village, Dubai, and his influence extended to neighboring areas. Whenever he arrived in his plane, crowds would gather to greet him with flowers and hugs, and he would generously share his wealth with them. Sissoko basked in royal treatment, enjoying widespread popularity and public adoration. However, in July 1996, Sissoko encountered a setback when he attempted to purchase 2 decommissioned military helicopters from the US government. These helicopters, relics from the Vietnam War era, caught Sissoko's interest, and he proposed converting them into air ambulances for transporting the injured in his village. Despite his intentions, the US government hesitated, suspecting that Sissoko might repurpose the helicopters for illicit activities, such as drug trafficking or arming them for civil conflicts in Mali. Facing obstacles, Sissoko's associates resorted to unlawful means to expedite the process, attempting to bribe a US official with $30,000. Although Sissoko did not directly order the bribe, his supporters took the initiative. However, the upright official reported the bribery attempt, leading to their arrest. Investigations uncovered their ties to Sissoko, implicating him in the bribery scandal and prompting an international warrant for his arrest issued through Interpol. Subsequently, Sissoko was apprehended in Geneva and detained pending extradition to the US to mount his defense. He enlisted the services of American lawyers, with Thomas Spencer serving as his lead attorney. During a meeting with the prison director in Geneva, Spencer was surprised when the director requested to delay Sissoko's extradition for as long as possible, hinting at a mysterious aspect of the case yet to be unveiled. Taken aback by the director's unusual interest, Spencer inquired further about the matter. To his surprise, the director disclosed that Sissoko was arranging for lavish meals to be flown in from Paris every night, creating a rather luxurious situation for them. This encounter with the prison director in Geneva marked the beginning of Spencer's realization that he was dealing with a truly unique and eccentric individual. Following his extradition to the United States, Sissoko faced charges related to the bribery case, specifically in Miami, Florida, where the incident occurred. Spencer's initial strategy was to request a bail hearing to secure Sissoko's release until the trial. However, the U.S. government and the prosecutor vehemently opposed bail, fearing that Sissoko might flee given the ongoing investigations into his activities, which were suspected to involve more than just the bribery case. Despite these concerns, Sissoko managed to rally significant support for his bail hearing, thanks to his substantial fortune and powerful connections with influential individuals. His lawyer presented numerous diplomats and high-profile figures from various embassies and positions who testified on his behalf, portraying Sissoko as a respected and prominent member of the community unlikely to flee. This display of support, coupled with assurances from his legal team regarding Sissoko's willingness to pay substantial bail, prompted the judge to set an extraordinarily high bail amount of $20 million, believing it to be prohibitive. However, much to the court's surprise, Sissoko agreed to pay the bail, leading to his release. Once released, Sissoko wasted no time in indulging in extravagant spending. He gifted his lawyer and defense team with 7 cars, stunning them with the lavishness of his gestures. Despite the pending trial, Sissoko embarked on a spree of unrestrained spending, making extravagant purchases worth hundreds of thousands of dollars at jewelry stores and acquiring multiple cars every week from dealerships. Furthermore, he entered into marriages with numerous women, potentially exceeding 10, just within Miami alone. He leased over 20 apartments, each designated for a different wife. Concurrently, the manager of the Dubai Islamic Bank continued to transfer funds to him. Sissoko possessed credit cards issued by the bank, despite having no funds. These cards had no spending limits, and any debts incurred on them were erased by the bank manager, Ayub, as if they had never existed. The enigma surrounding why the bank manager persisted in this behavior remains unresolved. Was he genuinely under a spell, threatened, or intimidated? It poses an intriguing conundrum. While awaiting his trial in Miami, Sissoko recognized the significance of philanthropy in enhancing his public image and garnering sympathy and support from the community, which he believed could benefit him in court. He frequented the streets of Miami, visiting impoverished neighborhoods to offer assistance to the needy and homeless, providing them with sustenance and clothing. These acts of benevolence were meticulously documented by the media to bolster his reputation. On one occasion, Sissoko came to the aid of a school music band in need of funding to travel to New York for participation in the prestigious Thanksgiving Day parade. He generously donated $300,000 to the band, surpassing their required amount for the trip. In appreciation, the band performed a special musical piece dedicated to him as a token of gratitude. Sissoko was actively engaged in enhancing his standing within Miami society, believing it would mitigate his forthcoming trial. In March 1997, the trial concerning the bribery case linked to the procurement of helicopter aircraft commenced. While his legal counsel advised him to plead not guilty, particularly since recorded conversations revealed Sissoko instructing his associates to expedite the helicopter acquisition within U.S. legal bounds, he chose to confess to the offense during the court proceedings, assuming full responsibility for the bribery incident. His attorneys were baffled by his decision, with his lead lawyer, Thomas Spencer, expressing frustration. Despite Spencer's attempts to comprehend Sissoko's rationale, he adamantly refused to provide an explanation. This refusal left Spencer feeling unsettled. It was later revealed that Sissoko's confession might have been motivated by a desire to halt further U.S. investigations into his financial affairs, fearing more severe repercussions than those posed by the bribery case alone. Sissoko's sentencing was relatively lenient. He received a 43-day prison term and a fine of $250,000, as the bribery case was not deemed significant. Involving just $30,000 and encompassing 2 decommissioned helicopters, it was not considered a particularly sensitive matter. Sissoko was transferred to a federal prison in Florida, which was a standard facility without particularly high security measures. After completing approximately half of his sentence, the government proposed a deal for him to serve the remainder under house arrest in exchange for a substantial donation to a homeless shelter. Agreeing to the terms, Sissoko donated $1 million to the shelter and was subsequently released from prison to complete his sentence under house arrest at one of his residences. Upon finishing his sentence, he promptly departed the United States and returned to Mali, where he received a warm welcome at the airport, as was customary. Throughout 1998, transfers from the Dubai Islamic Bank director to Sissoko continued unabated. However, instead of saving the funds, Sissoko opted to spend them on ventures like Dabia Airlines or distribute them among his followers and associates, assuming the persona of a modern-day Robin Hood. His attorney observed that while awaiting trial in Miami, Sissoko was disbursing approximately $1 million monthly in gifts to those around him. This spending pattern was expected to escalate in Mali, where recipients were often his relatives, and it was easier to be generous with someone else's money. Nevertheless, such an unusual situation was destined to be uncovered eventually. In March 1998, discrepancies in the bank's accounts caught the attention of some accountants, prompting inquiries. The bank director, unable to reach Sissoko and feeling the pressure, confided in a close colleague. Struggling to articulate the extent of the transfers, he resorted to writing down the staggering sum, 890 million durians, equivalent to $242 million. Shocked by this revelation, his colleague recognized the grave implications for the bank's stability. As news of the situation spread, clients panicked, fearing for their deposits and potentially sparking a bank run that could worsen the financial crisis. Prompt intervention by the Emirati government helped avert disaster. El Bayan, a Dubai-owned newspaper, assured the public of the safety of their deposits at Dubai Islamic Bank, thanks to government and central bank guarantees. Simultaneously, an investigation was launched, resulting in the detention of Mohammed Ayub, the bank's director, and two associates on charges of embezzling funds ranging from 200 to 500 million durians. Most of the loss was borne by the bank's owners, as it was a private institution on the brink of collapse until the government's intervention. In exchange for this rescue, a significant share of the bank became government-owned. Information regarding the court proceedings against the director and his associates is limited, but as reported in the article, 17 individuals received 3-year prison sentences. These defendants, comprising various nationalities, primarily consisted of bank employees, which partly explains how such substantial sums were embezzled. Whether these employees derived any personal benefit from their involvement remains uncertain. The article confirmed that the total embezzled amount attributed to the bank's director, Mohammed Ayub, exceeded 890 million dirhams. Sissoko was also among the 17 individuals sentenced, albeit in absentia, as he remained in Mali. All defendants received 3-year sentences. In 1999, Dubai Islamic Bank initiated legal action against Citibank in the US, alleging acceptance of large transactions without proper procedures. While the bank sought $151 million in compensation, Citibank ultimately paid no damages. Lawyers retained by Dubai Islamic Bank in the US investigated the transfers to trace the money's destination. Their findings indicated that neither Mohammed Ayub nor his associates financially benefited from the transferred funds, which all flowed to Sissoko. This puzzling scenario resurfaces the question: why did the bank director authorize these transfers? Meanwhile, Sissoko faced an Interpol arrest warrant, effectively restricting his travel. Thus, he remained in Mali, leveraging its absence of extradition treaties. Furthermore, Sissoko sought protection by becoming a diplomat. He contested parliamentary elections in 2002, leveraging his popularity to secure victory and parliamentary membership, which granted him diplomatic immunity. This shielded him from potential repercussions abroad. However, over time, Sissoko's fortune diminished due to extravagant spending, leading to a decline in popularity. Subsequently, he lost the 2014 elections, his parliamentary seat, and diplomatic immunity. Returning to his remote village of Dabia, Sissoko spent the remainder of his life there. In 2018, a BBC reporter located Sissoko's residence in Dabia and persuaded him to participate in an interview, which marked his sole public commentary on the matter. Unfortunately, the interview failed to offer substantial insights or clarify the intricate details surrounding the affair. Sissoko's reticence left many questions unanswered. The crux of the interview with Sissoko centered on his acknowledgement of once possessing considerable wealth, claiming to have had a capital of $400 million, although he admitted to embezzling only $242 million from the bank. The discrepancy raises questions about the origin of the additional funds. Two possibilities emerge. Either Sissoko exaggerated his wealth or engaged in other undisclosed scams. Many speculate on the latter, suspecting that the Dubai Islamic Bank scheme was not his sole operation. When queried about the current disposition of the money, Sissoko asserted that he had spent it all. He sidestepped discussion of the Dubai Islamic Bank case, almost denying it, and suggested his sole interaction with the bank was for a car loan. Regarding the alleged use of magic to double money, he dismissed it with laughter, refuting the notion and arguing that if he possessed such abilities, he wouldn't need to resort to bank robbery. He redirected attention to the bank, urging them to account for the missing funds. The interviewer, situated in Sissoko's residence among his community, refrained from pressing further on sensitive topics, such as the documented transfers at Citibank in America, his marriage to a bank employee, lavish spending in Miami, and other pertinent inquiries, possibly out of apprehension. During the interview, Sissoko offered a glimpse into his mindset, remarking on the insatiable nature of wealth, emphasizing that one can never have enough. He remained at large, residing in his village of Davia until his passing in 2021, marking the conclusion of this extraordinary narrative. If you found it captivating, remember to like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and explore other captivating videos. Thank you for watching.